It's rush season, ladies and gentlemen. So excited about it. What's up, you guys? It's Molly. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome to another video. I'm so excited today to bring you guys an updated sorority recruitment Q&A. Rush season is just around the corner. We have started preparing here at the University of Alabama. Our panel and community is really excited for this upcoming sorority recruitment, and because every year, obviously every August, there is a new pledge class of girls coming in that maybe need questions answered or just want updated information about anything. I am the resource for you guys. I asked you guys on my Instagram, which I'll put on the screen right here, to ask me your questions, anything about sorority rush you wanted to know or are curious about here at the University of Alabama. I don't want to hold you guys up any longer. I just want to get right into the questions, so let's jump right into it. So I have a ton of questions you guys asked me, and huge thank you to everyone that submitted questions because they were really good, and I think this video is going to be very beneficial for anybody curious or rushing here next year. So I really like this question to start off, and it is explain the process simply, please. So basically, sorority recruitment is our yearly formal recruitment that happens here at the University of Alabama. We have 17 Panhellenic sororities here that go through primary recruitment, and so basically it is probably an 8 to 9 day recruitment process and it consists of 4 rounds. So first round is open house round, then philanthropy round, then sisterhood round, and then pref round. And the days and times of these rounds are changing, which I will get into with a little bit later, but those are the 4 rounds of recruitment, and basically you go through a mutual selection process where you go to the houses, talk to actives, kind of get an idea of their values, their philanthropies, the vibe of the girls and what they stand for, and basically go through the whole process, going down from 17 sororities to 2 at pref, and then you vote 1 and 2, and based on the bid list, you get a bid from one of those 2 houses. It's a really fun process. I really loved it. It happens right before school starts here at the university every fall. So the girls that do rush do move in early and do participate in primary recruitment before you even start class, which I really liked because it allowed you kind of to acclimate to campus before anybody else really got there. So that is a very broad explanation of sorority recruitment, but yes, it is a very large process. You do go to every single house during recruitment and talk to people in every house and kind of narrow it down from there just based on kind of the houses that you clicked the most with or maybe didn't click well with. There are rokais who basically are like your counselor through recruitment, and there's groups of you, normally it's alphabetical, and they're kind of just there for you to talk to if you're anxious, stressed, maybe conflicted about houses, and they explain that process a lot to you prior to recruitment, so there's nothing to worry about there. You will not be kind of just like sent out to recruitment and expected to know what you're doing. The next question is, what did you think of rush? So I personally did enjoy rush and the process of getting to know people across the Panhellenic community and getting the opportunity to like get to know a lot of the houses kind of for like who they were, what they stood for, and I just thought it was like a really cool and unique opportunity that I don't know, I just never would have had any other way, and that I think any other school wouldn't have had this like crazy system that is Alabama sorority recruitment. I probably wouldn't do it again just because it is a very draining week. I did get the flu after rush because I was so exhausted and my immune system was just absolutely exhausted from everything that I was doing, but it is a really fun process, and it's just like a good chance to get to know girls in your freshman class, and then you kind of get to know girls that might end up in your sorority, and it was just a really unique experience. It is very stressful. Some people have much more stressful experiences than others. It's entirely based on you and your own experience, but I definitely would recommend it to anybody who is debating it just because I had a positive experience and it led me to a house where I have had the ability to thrive and grow. So I have nothing but really positive things to say about sorority rush. The next question is, how did you decide which sorority to rush for? So for that, basically how it works is you do go to every house, and so you do have to like rush every house, if that makes sense. But let's say if you go through the first round and you get your houses back that maybe you got back and maybe you lost one that you liked, you kind of just go with what you get back and see how the process rolls out. Some girls do go through recruitment and maybe get to a spot where they don't feel confident in where they would end up and do drop out of recruitment. That is something you can do. You don't have to stay in it and force yourself into a house if you don't feel comfortable, but you do go through every house and get the opportunity to see every house. And I encourage everyone to go into each house with an open mind, because there are so many people that went through rush not thinking they would end up where they did, and they're like, I could not have imagined it working out any other way. This next question is, any tips for making an intro video and how to handle rush if parts are virtual this year? So I did talk about this briefly in the beginning of this video, but As of right now, open house round is going to be intro videos, which each house will watch and vote based on that, I guess. And so that's how then it will progress into philanthropy round, which is the second round. So you will not be going into the houses during open house. That is literally, it's not like you're on Zoom all day for open house. It's you submit a video and that is open house round. And then you will start going into the houses hopefully during philanthropy round, but they have yet to decide if that will be virtual, because it will either be open house is virtual and the rest are in person, or progressively one less round will be in person. So it could be just pref, it could be sisterhood and pref, it could be philanthropy, sisterhood, and pref in person. That is all up in the air, but once I know, you will know, I promise. But I would encourage anybody who is rushing this coming year to stay updated with the Panhellenic website, and if you're in any rush group chats or anything like that, chances are you'll be very well informed with those, because I know a lot of people are very up to date about stuff going on here for that coming recruitment. But that is my best advice about that. Tips for making the intro video: practice it before you record it and be yourself. I always feel so normal when I talk to a camera just because I've been used to it, but I know some girls maybe don't feel that way. I would definitely recommend practicing it, and don't sound stiff. I know some people it's easy to sound stiff on a recording. Really show your personality through your video however you know how. That is my best advice, because I think it would help the chapters get a better idea of who you are when we can see that, and it's not just you saying your name, your hometown, your major, all of that. You know, it needs to be a little bit more personality. I think that would be beneficial on both ends for that. And if any rounds are virtual, my best advice is to make the most out of it and be just as enthusiastic and eager to talk to actives online as you would in person. I know it might be disappointing if something does end up being virtual. However, I do think it is really important that you still give Rush the fair opportunity, because it did work fairly well for most of the girls that did go through virtual recruitment this past year. And you know, obviously I've made a few Q&As with my little, which you can refer back to and watch, but she said, you know, it was weird, but it did still work. So I would just keep an open mind. This next question I thought was really interesting, and it is, can you change your mind at any point and switch or drop a sorority? So this is kind of an interesting question because it kind of depends on the chapter, I think, but I can just explain based on my knowledge. So if you go through sorority recruitment and accept a bid from a house, and maybe go through the first month or two before you're initiated into that sorority and think, I don't know, I don't think this chapter's for me, you can drop and re-rush if you have not been initiated. But if you've been initiated, you can drop a sorority at any time. That is your choice, but you cannot re-rush if you've already been initiated, if that makes sense. My best advice about that, if you're having doubts, I mean, honestly, if you get into a house and you're having doubts about where you end up, listen to your gut, frankly. Talk to your exec. They're always willing to talk to you about any concerns you have. The next question is it super expensive? So to go through recruitment, you do have to pay a fee just because they are paying for making the Greek chic. They give you philanthropy round shirts. There are a lot of things that they provide for the recruitment week, the tents and the different things like that if it is in person. So you do pay a fee. The earlier you pay the fee, the cheaper it is for you. So if you are going to go through recruitment, the sooner you register and pay the fee, the better. The next question is it worth the money to be in a sorority? It is definitely a large financial commitment to be in a sorority here, just because of the facilities and the houses you get, along with the fact that you eat majority, if not all, of your meals there, and they're also paying to upkeep the house, to pay the staff that work there for the food and all the different things like that. It is definitely a large commitment. During recruitment, there is a portion of Rush where they do discuss that with you. If you have any concerns, voice them, be open about it. A lot of chapters do offer scholarships to help with that type of thing, and there are payment plans. In my opinion, it has been worth the money for me, just because of the things I've got out of it and the relationships I believe I would not have had without Pi-Fi. But again, it is very personal. Everyone's experience is different and kind of how things work out. The next question is best advice on what to talk about. Honestly, I feel like the nice thing about being a PNM going through recruitment, which if you do not know any of the Rush lingo, a PNM is a potential new member. So it is a girl going through recruitment that could potentially be a member of a chapter. But when you're talking to a PNM, the active typically kind of leads the conversation a bit, kind of provokes questions. Hey, do you have any concerns about the financial commitment? What were some things you're involved in high school? What did you do over the summer? Those are some of the things that we might ask you in different times, just kind of having a conversation roll. But if you have any questions about a chapter, oftentimes before each round, the Rokais will bring up questions you could pose to the actives, oh, what do you do for your philanthropy? Or what other sisterhood or service events are you involved in? And then for sisterhood round, why did you go Pi Phi? What stood out to you about the sisterhood? Like, there are different questions you can ask as well, but the nice thing is that most of the time the actives kind of lead the conversation. But if you want to lead the conversation, actives would absolutely love that. They want you to be eager and interested in their chapter, and they just want you to have a good experience in that conversation in that house. So if you do want questions, your Rokai is a huge help with that, but some of the ones that I mentioned are definitely some good ways to go. And again, if you're rushing, your Rokais will kind of talk about each round and kind of anything you could say type of thing, so you will be well prepared before each round. The next question is, what is a sorority philanthropy? So I did touch on philanthropy round, but basically the philanthropies for sororities are like a charity or a cause that the sororities advocate for, hold fundraisers for, events for, raise money for, just basically help contribute to that specific cause. So Pi Phi's is Read, Lead, Achieve, and so we do a bunch of different book drives, fundraisers. Normally we go read to kids in elementary schools. Because of COVID, that has not happened in a while, but we have a YouTube channel we set up for kids to watch us read books to them. It's just really fun to contribute to all of the different philanthropies. There are a wide variety of philanthropies, and none of them are really the same, which is like the best part about it. Going through philanthropy round is because you get to know each cause and kind of why it resonated with that chapter and why they feel so passionately about it, which was my favorite round of recruitment, by the way. It was so fun. But yeah, that is the basic answer of what a philanthropy is. The next question is, were you ever intimidated by a house? Honestly, I feel like I was definitely nervous to go into some of them just because I felt like maybe I wasn't a good fit, I guess. I did try to keep an open mind during those conversations, and a few of them did really surprise me, but I definitely was a little bit intimidated for a few of them. I don't really know what made me so scared. I really don't know. And also I was from up north, so I really didn't know that much about them. I did definitely get intimidated a few times, but literally just know the actives are just as nervous as you. And if you're just like excited to be there, eager, confident, it's really fun. My nerves definitely diminished once I got into the conversation. It was kind of just like the before part. The next question is it hard to get into a sorority? I'm pretty sure the rate of girls that get bids every year after going through recruitment is like 95% or something up there. So it is the majority of girls do get a bid. But again, everyone's different. Some of the common reasons maybe something doesn't happen for a girl, or maybe they don't have a good recruitment experience, is maybe because of scholarship and grades, and maybe a lack of involvement in high school. But the most of the girls that do go through recruitment do receive a bid at the end. The next question is, how many outfits do I need? So because open house round is going to be the videos, you don't need a dress for open house, and normally that'd be 2 days, so I guess that's 2 less dresses if you wanted to wear different dresses both days. If philanthropy is broken up, you can probably get 2 to 3 pairs of shorts. I recommend having backups just in case anything happens. So like 2 to 3 pairs of shorts for philanthropy round, because you do get a t-shirts. And then sisterhood, you'll need 2 to 3, and pref you'll need 1 or maybe 2, probably just 1 though. 2 to 3 pairs of shorts, and then dresses, I'd probably say maybe 5 dresses, maybe 4. How was sorority life different this year from before COVID? You have to rely on COVID rules. Like, you can't just walk around without masks on, and everything has to be really well cleaned, and maybe you just like are more aware of like the things that you leave out, or maybe the things that you don't clean because of COVID. And obviously there were capacity limits in all of the rooms in the house. You had to wear masks inside at all times. Guests normally aren't allowed upstairs in the sorority, at least that's just how Pi Phi ran it. There were less social events. In the fall we didn't have any, but this semester we had 3 date parties, and we started doing more philanthropy events this semester. I feel like most people didn't have a lot last semester, and then this semester, as the vaccines started rolling out, things got a little bit better. But again, everything is still like in waves. Like our date parties were in waves of like 60 people. So all of the masks, all of that stuff, everything is like in waves, social distancing, all of that. The last question that I thought was really fitting to round out this video is, what is your best advice for going through recruitment? I have a few. I stayed true to these pieces of advice since I went through recruitment and have made videos about it. My best advice is to be yourself. That is probably the biggest one. I think it would be the biggest disservice you could do to yourself if you were not yourself when you're going through houses, because they would get the wrong vibe of you, you would get the wrong vibe of them, and you would just end up likely very unhappy at the end of the day, because you'd be in a house that just really didn't click with who you were or what you believed in, and that's just really important. My other piece of advice is to go in open-minded. There's so many girls that I see go through recruitment that do not give every house a fair shot. And again, that is a huge disservice to yourself and your sorority experience, because I was never in a house and felt utterly intimidated, afraid. I never didn't like one at all. Like there were good things about every house that I could have pointed to and said I liked that about them. And you're really just doing yourself a disservice if you're focusing on something negative about a house and then you turn yourself off to them when maybe they could have been the house where you would have found your best friends. So those are my biggest pieces of advice. Okay, y'all, that is it for my sorority recruitment Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below, and be sure to follow me on all my social media so you can stay up to date on my life. They are all linked in the description down below. And also feel free to DM me on my Instagram anytime if you have any additional questions or anything you want answered. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time.